Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Um, we are into one of the penultimate talks of the mining seminar series for this academic year, and we are glad to have Dr. Shimin Liu from Penn State, who's also the chief editor of IJCS&T. Today we have Dr. Shimin Liu talking about mining and mineral engineering research and high impact publishing, especially with coming back with his background as a chief editor in a very specific mining journal. She's going to share his experiences and pretty valuable ones for graduate students on how you can publish manuscripts and convert your research, which you're doing more as laboratory experiments and simulations, into better ways to present it to the outside world who can see value in your work. And I thank a lot Dr. Shimin Liu, and then being as a editor, his main research focus is on flow of fluids through porous media, and he's worked on coalbed methane, gas shale reservoir engineering, carbon sequestration, and a number of things. He has also worked with different grants, not just from NIOSH, but also various federal agencies, Alpha Foundation, NSF, US Department of Energy, and more. We are glad to have him here. He has more than 4,000 citations and 150 peer-reviewed publications. And right now, being an editor, he's going to share his valuable experience with us. Thanks a lot for being with us, Dr. Liu. I leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Mus, for this nice introduction. And first of all, I would really express, it's my honor here to be talking with grad student and my colleagues here who is mining professions. And used to be, I think, initially I send you the abstract to talk about some of my research. And then I think this may be more valuable from you guys' feedback to see how to publishing, and in terms of basically increase the visibility. So today, I think, Sai is here, who is CSM alumni, who is make the linkage. And thank you, Sai, for arranging this. And also Wan Jie, who is managing editor here for the journal. So I will be, I have two faces. So number one is ESA editor-in-chief, and plus basically I'm an independent researcher. So I think some of the experience may be valuable for some of the student who is really starting their early career for academic job. And certainly this is not a golden rule, but rather is some of the things what I have been collecting over the years. And basically, for the thing, the talk will be break down into 4 sections. I will be briefly introduce what is the journal about, and followed by what we have been developing over the year. This journal, I think, is really relatively new, but really not new in terms of really new. So this has been, I think, 7 years, and we gain enough reputation for the mining and mineral and energy industry. And also I see as a, I think, younger academia, so might be there opportunities, and you guys can participate for this journal in one way or another. I will be talk about a little bit of how to engaging the public service for the academic jobs and all that. So certainly the last part is based on my experience and how to publish, and what is some of the rules as editor-in-chief, what I see common mistakes and what need to do when you decided to publishing. So that is the last part. And so let us see what is journal about. Think about it. So the journal name called Coal Science and Technology more or less is really, we still have a lot of basically weight for the coal, regardless where it is you are in the world. So US being a leading economic in the world, but still, if you see this energy chart, coal is still being quite a big number. Certainly is not basically as big as whatever 30, 40 years back, 60s and to 50% of energy come from the coal, but still there's quite basically 11, percent for the US, the energy sector. So the 11% is a lot. Is relatively less in percent, but absolute value is still quite a lot. So that's why I think really we as a whole, we want to get a renewable and green. So that is our ultimate goal. But really, do we there. So you will be see the majority of the energy mix is come from fossil fuels, the bottom natural gas, coal, and petroleum. This is still count towards more than basically 70%, 80% of our energy mix. So that is matter of fact that we have to leave that for a period of time. We will not basically, all the way that, but really that is the fact. So as what profession is, still coal is being important in energy. And also basically, as a mining and mineral industry overall, so this is data what I came from AMSHA. This is the newest data. I don't basically get, I don't know whether AMSHA was updating it. You will be see mining and mineral industry still, I think I don't want to advocate how important mining is, but reality is you see the economic driver for the country. There's still this, there are many mines and, there are metal mine, base metal and non-metal, stone, sand, and gravels. So that's why mining still being very important industry and economic driver for the country. And as a matter of fact, in the second bullet, you can see earth moving is still economically important because that is support what we basically see and all that, but also technically challenging. So what do I mean by technical challenging is reality is we still progressively changing the world. So basically, 30, 40 years back, technology is really different from today. I think everybody of us has a experiencing. So if you from 1980s to 2000, the world changing, but not so rapid. But beyond 2000, the world changed quite rapid. And that is, not only what we see the life. Can you imagine basically, we use phone to do everything. When the phone being invented, the mobile phone through the bio is only, less than 40 years. And Elon Musk basically came out idea 2 years back about Starlinks. Now is already 1,000 satellite on the Earth, basically out of the Earth. That is reality. That's why I think, really as a young profession, what we basically vision for this world is quite important. We are evolving and dynamically change. So whatever experience we learn is very valuable, but also we should welcome in future. That is what the science is about. So certainly how to basically moving this, how to basically educating, bring everybody or bring majority of body into the same level of understanding is through publishing. So knowledge sharing. So knowledge sharing used to be pick up phone, you get expertise and everything. Today, you basically search Google, you search basically, YouTube, you basically get Instagram and all that. It's changing. So that's why publishing is also the industry was evolving. That's why I think, as a young professions, basically is important us to share the knowledges. So certainly this is another slide what I talked to the student. Basically, energy, coal, petroleum still will be some blue bridges to the future, but certainly this needs some time. So there's one thing is really, one fact, April 1st, 2016, the first time natural gas generating exceeding coal. So that is basically, is really bad for coal industry, it seems. But to me, I don't view like that. So basically, if we don't basically, welcoming the future, that is really bad, basically attitude to change our professions. So coal may not be in the future for so basically for the energy rather than is a material. Think about it. So that is where we need, basically share our knowledge, what our vision about. So that is basically a little bit background about our profession. So continuing, so basically what the journal is really, we do offer online, basically download, but we also have printed version. I think, as a top #1 mining and mineral industry, I think CSM, I don't know whether you as prescribe this is published through Springer and all that. So certainly if you guys interested in, we can send you the hard copies and all that. So I doubt about a lot of people read it in hard copy, but I still have the habit to flip over mining engineering magazine every month. So whenever I do it, that is our profession, that is old, right? So all not necessarily good and bad, but that is habit. I think, that is really what we are trying to do. This is the, journal or what it look like. Certainly is published by a good publisher, which is Springer, collaborating with this China Coastal Society. So that is what you will see whenever you can go to the journal. And let us see the aim and scope. So here is what we basically see: coal, minerals, energy. So that is what we cover. Even though we have the coal, but reality is coal is a mixture. Coal is not only carbon, black. Coal can be white, coal can be red. If you basically read some of the books and produced by the coal scientists, they actually different colors. But really in the journal, we really have an inclusion of all the mining and mineral industry topic. We are not only, you have to study coal, that's not true. We do accepting journals for energy and fuel. We do, accepting good journals, good papers for biomines. We do basically do processing and all over. So that is really where what the journal about. And certainly, the reason why we're not changing the name is because the publisher changing name is a headache. So that's why we still carry the legacy name, but really we do trying to make inclusive. And the article type is, including review article, case studies, and also we have short communication if you chosen to have some rapid technological development, and all those are all open options. So here is the editor, basically, there's two editors-in-chief, and Professor Peng Suping, who is academician in China, basically in China Academy of Engineering, and he also professor in China University of Mining and Technology, and myself. So basically is for overseeing the technical part of this journal. And certainly, as far as everyone know, we are not genius. And we highly depend on the editors, which is associate editor here is showing more or less, basically Dr. Wu Xiao from the Zhejiang University and Zhiqiang Wu from Xi'an Jiaotong University, who handling different the fuel cells and all that. Also Pedram from New Mexico Tech for ventilation, health and safety, and Bo from NIOSH to handling rock mechanics, numerical simulation, and Dongjie, who is come from COMTB, handling the rock experimental rock mechanics and all that. So for me, I actually, basically oversee some of the topic like mineral processing, rock mechanics, ground control, mine ventilation, health and safety. So those are my expertise of research. But some of the other topics, basically, other editor will be handling forward. And basically see here, this is the journal, what is really where we are for the offices. Certainly, basically we have China production, but for US and Australia, we do have offices to publicity and marketing what we are doing for the journal. And that is the structure. So basically, the second is just give you some projection, what is journal about. And more or less, there's some of the reasons we offer you should make choice of the journal. Number one is we offer the open access option without cost from you guys. So basically I think in the last 10 years, open access being very costly, but we actually get funding from some agency to basically fund the open access with, without burden of the author to pay it. That's why you will be getting more basically exposure without whoever not, subscription. And also we get this high visibility, which is really most of the major index except, ICI. So every, geo mining environmental index the journal. And also we do have the trying to get special issues to cover special, topics like say health and safety, mine dust, and fuel cells from the coal, in situ fuel cells and all that. So basically, it's really the for us is whenever you selecting for printing, we don't charge you for the color and all that. That is basically economical benefit, but certainly scientifically. We have a profession. We are not basically a publisher, open a journal, rather we are society basically as a profession to make the journal. So here is basically what happens whenever you get the journal to submit some fact. So you submit it. So there's some basic screening followed by me. So whenever you all the technical and formatting and is passed, so it's kicked to me or Professor Su Ping Peng, and we will be reading from the science and innovation to see whether it is good or not, whether we will decide to send for review or rejection and all that. So then we will invite typically 4 or 5 reviewers to basically single blended. So the reviewer will see the author, but the author don't know who is reviewer. And then the editor as basically kick to me, either handling editor, and I will see all the comments and everything. And if it is really good comments, whatever, and then it can be accepted or revised or rejected. That is typical of the how journal works. But certainly if it is offer you major revision, certainly there is a second round of reviews that is just make the scientific rigor for make sure the quality of the paper. So from the timeline, I think we are really improving a lot for the speed. So 50 days we will make first decision, and of the final exception is really a little bit longer time, but really you will be get online quite quickly. So that is my goal. Here is some of the data. You will be see more or less is our download and read is dramatically increasing over the years. So if you see the download, which we presume the reading, so for 2020, so basically we do get, you can see 218,000 downloads. So that is, we have exposure and everything. So that is, is quite impressive what we do, trying to make the quality of the paper great and also reach out who is potential readers. So this is what I said, we almost get everything major indexed for the journal. And here is what I want to pumping in. If you, I think everybody do research and do it normal life. We use Google, that might be good, maybe bad, because Google may make decision without our consensus. That is certain time is not very good, but is a tool. If you use Google Scholar to see what is mining mineral resources journals, you see the list: RMRE, International Rock Mining Science, Mineral Engineering, Hydrometallurgical, rock mechanics, geotechnical engineering, and basically, we are really in top 20. But if you basically get rid of some of the general, let's say geophysics, basically the perspectives and all that. So we are really in top 10 for mining and mineral engineering. So that is the downloading and reading based on the Google Scholar index. That is really something what we are impressed. So this is data of 2020, and certainly trying to get a narrow, because we are profession. We basically not only publishing, rather we want to make influence. So we do have all of this, the special issues, which is really for increasing the visibility. You can see in the new year we have special issue on basically the theories and application of smart mining technology, control of mine fires and all that. We do have quotas, special issue just closing. We have quite a lot of submissions and all that. So yeah, so basically, in the third session, I will see, hey, how as young professions to be integrated. The journal has challenges. There also have opportunity. What are the challenges and opportunities? First of all, we're trying to provide a forum for new research findings, case studies, discussion important challenges in coal science, mineral industry, mining development. So basically, we are inclusive. That is what we committed to, and offers to a to international perspective on geology, geochemistry, geophysics, mineralogy, pathology, mining theories, and blah blah, or other. So that is what we basically trying to cover, and trying to get good quality. By the way, we do get a lot of submissions, but really we want to get quality submissions from maybe someone, some article from you guys. So certainly we do have challenges too, like what this blue basically listed. So scientists have increased their recognition in the journal, actively participate in publication, but really what we really has problem is how can we attract submission for high standard internationally. So we right now, this may be our problem and maybe our production, a profession problem. We get a lot of submission from the China, Australia, India, those are, and Poland and Iran. Those are the leading 4 countries. I think number 4 is US. So basically, that is where mining happening. But still, I want to basically emphasize US and European is what we're focusing on, trying to attracting more good quality papers. And also with so many journal publication annually in so many journal now, how can we basically get attention for our journal? Certainly, there's one thing is we do our good publicity, but certainly there's something what you guys as young profession chosen us, then that is a node we can basically increasing our profession. As a team, mining engineer or mineral industry, so we will be see where we are. Think about it. So I have been attending the SME quite many years, almost every year. We talk about there are a lot of other things, how to publicity, how to basically, changing perception of the of mining industry, and there's also move mining and all that. That is all very good. I think I was really happy SME was taking initiative on it, but certainly we are not successfully. There's a long way to go to change people's perception. What is mining? What is mineral industry? So whenever people seeing about mining, okay, so the television will say, hey, there's some disasters and there's a man or woman or thee. So now basically, it's really black faces and basically get hard hide and all that. So that is really not true. So I think, how changing that by publishing, by sharing the information professionally and publicly. Publicly, we cannot do too much, but really professionally, we'll see we do smart mining. We do basically, increasing the the safety, and the working condition is really not as bad what people believe. So that is what we are trying to do. Therefore, I think as young professions, we all should share our part to transform our profession into a public acceptable industry by publishing, by talking, by do whatever we can do, share our part. I think that is the part of what we should do public services. Therefore, there's a job which is we need help as someone or you. So basically, we publishing, but certainly whoever publishing paper, you need 3 or 4 people and to read it. So there's one job is really reviewing the journal, which is learning and also basically, trying to help us to do things what we actually need to do. And certainly that is what we need, maybe recruiting from you guys who is interested in to become academic editor, which you may oversee how the journal was working. You may handling some of the journal papers by me if you're registered and if you're being qualified by publisher. And then oh, this is how it works and all that. So that is one way, being a reviewer, and also basically maybe potentially in the future become editorial board members. So that is really, I think, that is one of my job here. Let you guys participate. Okay, so this journal has opportunity to basically participating rather than you throwing a paper. There's a role for you to serve, which may change our roles of academic jobs and all that. So therefore, whoever interested in to participating, drop me email, Sai email, Wanjie email, whoever, and we will be willing to talk. We will be willing to see, and we will be willing to see what are the potential we can transform, we can change. Okay, last part. So I think I will spend 10 minutes as an editor-in-chief. I do see there are a lot of mistake people or student was making to not doing the thing. So first and foremost, why do we publish? That I have been covered a lot, basically changing people's views. And also science. Without publication, science is dead. Okay, so that is truth. Because if we are not sharing, you only know, so one way or another, we will go to another word one day. So that is the legacy will be left. Unless you put on the paper, people can read it, that is can carry. That is basically the concept. So now, next question, what do we ask ourselves? What is science? And how to share it? So science can be, I think you all, trying to, do academic job. What is science? First of all, science can be described as a complex. So I think all the PhD student, master student, they already see that, because you have been reading papers. One people say this, and other people say that, and then you don't know, you are in the middle of nowhere. Then you're trying to decide where to go. That is a complex. And also it is self-organized. We are not inventing, changing science, rather than when interpreting, discovering, and conceptualization and standardization. That is our job as an academic job position, self-organized. So we need to basically learn them and basically trying to let people use language or whatever one way to every people bring into the same level. And also evolving network, they change. They are not basically always is same. That's why I think in Moralize is really of scholars. So the constituents is really scholar project papers, ideas. So those, this is what my student and all that. So basically his reality is each one of us doing the job, trying to interpret self-organized science and trying to share the ideas. That is what is the science is really about. So now there's many papers, many journals. So in the as of 2019 July, there's 80,000 academic English journals. Now, it's a big challenge for us to where to publish. Is that really a problem for us? I would say no. The reason why is, think about it. If you are in the public health, medical, there's 30,000 journals, but mining, they quite pretty same. Pretty basically, where we publish is really narrow. Mining magazine, mining transitioning, and whatever this journal and proceedings. So those are where we're publishing. We get name, we get readership. As a matter of fact, our readership also is pretty fixed. That's why it's good for us. So choice is not an issue for us. But certainly is there rule and thumb, even though you basically have different topic and everything, how to selecting. So I think this is my rules to basically do. We have to adhere to the principle of research integrity. That is more important. If you read a journal article as a student or whoever, this is, you don't want to publish where it is published, those type of papers, okay? Second, identify journals that follow best practices promoted professional scholar publishing organization. That is typically some of these publishers, they do good job for organizing, but integrity, they cannot control. They're out of their control. But as our profession, we can do it. Okay. Third, avoid publishing in journals that do not have clear standard, rigorous, or precise. So therefore, basically, this blue is really where you have to be considered when you select to publishing: scientific rigor, peer review process, editorial and editorial board, and journal reputation, indexing, impact factor. So if you are in other industry, you will be careful. Hey, I publish 5.6 impact factor now, better than 4.4. But in our industry, that may not be the truth, because really that's not reflecting what is the integrity of thing. But it's important. So as a journal, for me, I actually trying to basically improving the impact factors and everything. But reality is that is important, but not as important as other disciplinaries. So now let us see, hey, how to write. And that is basically paper. First and foremost, paper is a storytelling. It is really not basically you do something, I did this, you do this, I do this, and I find this, I find that. Then you're forcing people to believe you, and then you're forcing people to read. That is really not the way how it works. So the most crucial element is you have to well organize your manuscript in such a way to answer some question where they have come from. What is the problem? You have to framing your problem statement, followed by where they are now. Basically, we have been the knowledge here and all that. And then last is really where we are going, which you did. And basically we do a stepping stone to move forward. That is basically what is, whenever you write a paper, you should finish the manuscript, you ask yourself, hey, do I tell a good story? If you are not being convinced, that is basically, you may not convincing the editor. That is always the truth. So in structure, so here, by the way, I'm not trying to take stepping the shoes for professors and other professors. This is my personal experience as editor and as also researcher. So basically their general structures is really like this. So you do have a very important first boxes, which is title, author, abstract, keyword. Why is important? This may be more important in today's world because people use Google, people use Web of Science, people use whatever search engine. So you have to come into the right thing to basically, publish yourself and to do more attractive work. But certainly your main body is also justified by your peers, whether it's quality or not. So those are the things you really need carefully to prepare. Let us see, what is manuscript title? What is title should be? Say, a good title should contain a fewest possible word. If you have 5 lines of title, as an editor-in-chief, I will see, okay, you don't know what you're doing because you're trying to give me a salad bowl. Let me go to fish. I go to, that is really not a good way. You should basically using your fewest word to concise what is adequately describe what you are doing. That is, you have to come into the right terminology. Effective title always have the, identify the main issue of the paper, begin with the subject of the paper, accurate, basically specific, complete, don't contain infrequent use abbreviations. That is commonly, mistake too, and really give a initiation of reader to read it. So title should be concise, informative, contain most important word in the topic, ethics, basically in-text the reader without giving away from punchlines, basically not overlying, sensationalized. So this is an example of what I recently published papers. So that is what initially student gave me, and then I was changing it. So I'm not saying this is best title, but reality is you don't want to be very general, okay? So basically is more or less is you need to spend more time, one advice, more time to think a title rather than you write your introduction. If you basically, write the introduction, take 1 day, you should think about more. You came a couple of different titles to fight with it because this is very important for you and for editors, okay? Then next is abstract. This is another very important. So I make decisions based on the abstract. I would say 60 to 70% based on abstract, whether it's really, really compiling. Okay, so the good abstract is always honest and precise. So there's some fact everyone wants to know. If you say, okay, you basically solving Navier-Stokes equation completely, that is wrong statement. I will not accept any statement like this. That's why you have to be honest what you did. And as a matter of fact, what we do is marginal to the science, rather than basically you have, there may be some, basically jump over and all that, but really be honest and precise. Can stand alone. That is important because today everybody search. If you are not get a standalone, that is the concept of indexing. So basically you have SAI, you have energy index and all that. The index is purely based on the abstract. That's why you have to come into good abstract, what you are doing. No overwhelming technical jargons. People will not read it. And short and specific. You don't, good rule and thumb, you're never exceeding your abstract beyond 400 words. If you beyond that, there's a little bit long problem. And then there should be no reference. So as a matter of fact, the quality of an abstract will inform the editor for decision initially, screening, okay? So that is important. And then we follow by the main test. The second part of here is really introduction, method, results, and discussion. There's not a single way to write it. It depends on experimental work, field work, and the things. But what I see the common mistake in our profession make is they don't spend enough time on method rather than they basically draw figures. So this may be true if you basically publishing in biomass and chemical, because their test is very standardized. Everybody do exactly the same thing. You don't need to say it. But in our industry, it's not like that. You go to the mine in 20 miles away, things change dramatically. That's why the method is determine your integrity in our profession. This is different from other industry based on my interpretation. Okay, if you do biomass, whatever, burn the thing, they have a rigid way. If you see one thing, they understand, but really what we are not doing that. So that's why one common mistake in our profession, we don't spend enough time to detail what method we carry out. That is, don't do that. So basically detail what you did, that determine whether I choose to believe your result or not, because result is interpretation. So I think, more or less is the next is really, so I see the method, but result and discussion, there is not one single way to do it. Some people do result, and then discussion, some people just integrating results and discussion, they all acceptable. Rather, we should understand what is the difference between result and discussion. So basically the people believe, okay, result and discussion is one thing. Absolutely not. So as a writer, as a author, we should clearly delineate, separate that. In the way you have to be clear. If you're not clear what is discussion, what is basically the result, then the editor or the reviewer will be confusing. So the result is purely based on the fact, what you did. Discussion based on you collecting what you actually interpret, comparing or conceptualizing future. Okay, so to me, as I read a lot of papers and everything, and basically I jump into, after abstract, I jump into discussion to see, based on if I chosen to believe your fact, what move forward. As an academia, I do want to continue, improve, rather than copying us, okay, being little, author. That is not the intention, okay? So that's why, as an author, you have to think clear. You may write in the same portion, but really see what is your discussion, what is your results. And certainly then conclusion, being concise, small, is really, not overwhelming. That is a conclusion that, as a matter of fact, reviewer and editor, whenever they read until conclusion, they already make their decision. Accept, reject, good, bad, they already make the decision. Okay, after you complete your manuscript, presumably do a good job, there's a one final push to basically get the touchdown is how you're submitting it. So you have to communicate with editor effectively. It doesn't matter what journal you go. So the cover letter is crucial. So do not waste the opportunity to sell yourself, because that is, the first thing we see is cover letter. And then don't write something dull or derivative like what the right seeing. Please consider this manuscript for publication in your journal. You basically say something is already fact, because if you don't want to consider why you're submitting, right? So that is really, there's no wasting papers. So do tell the editor what you do seriously. So that is basically, you have to concise your abstract and conclusion. That is the message you have to deliver to me, and also make life easier for us, because we don't want to go there and fish. But sometimes I do go there and fish whenever I think this is important. So therefore, write a informative cover letter. You should, basically trying to answer those questions. Why the topic is important, one sentence. Why are the results significant? So what milestone you did, and what are the advanced previous work? Why are submitting to this journal provided review suggestion if possible? I'm not saying you have to including everything, whatever appropriate. So that means, okay, so this is really, I make so much importance. You want to say it, okay? Okay, ultimately, this is my second last slide. Paper get rejected all the time and all the way, every one of us have a lot of experience on it. But I would tell you guys, as young profession, paper rejection is not end of the world, rather is an opportunity to transform. So this happens more often than not. Self-assessment revision. So you have to think, oh, reviewer gave them good comments, editor really consider effort on it. So you should presume, oh, this is really some value. If there's no value, appeal. You do have opportunity to appeal a result, if you think you are so important, then you just say, this is important, you have to consider, or you say, oh, this is really, I have to improve. That is how the science was improved. All right, so I think that is all what I have, and good luck for your publication and submit article for us. And with that, I use my 40-minute time, which is Musu tell me, and
Awesome.
I will willing to.
It's more precise. We started 4:03. You were bang on in your time. This is really amazing. I guess one of the few talks we have had been like very well structured and on time.
Very good. So do basically, email me, and I would like to answer any question what you have.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Liu. It was really good talk, covering a lot of aspects, and especially on the publishing sides for students who are new to this, or even who have been working on this. There are valuable insights in that. Participants, if you have any questions, you can feel free to unmute and ask, or you can post it in the chat box. I can read it out to Dr. Liu. Sion, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You can go ahead and ask your question. You have your hand up.
All right, thank you. My name is Shimin Liu from China University of Mining and Technology. Thank you so much, Professor, for your time. So my first question is, will you share a link to this video? And if you will share a link, where can we get the link to the recorded Zoom meeting?
You're talking about the current talk, which is happening. We will have we'll have it in our YouTube channel. I'll repost that here, so you can check our YouTube channel to find it.
Okay, I will appreciate that. Also, you mentioned about asking other questions by sending it to your email. Actually, I don't get the email address. Probably you can reshare that again.
Sure, I'll try to have that as well. You can ask your question now if you have any.
Okay, I said the question is, he said we can actually contact him via his email address. So, but I don't have the email address. Probably you can share that again.
Yeah, he already posted it in the chat box.
I posted,
all right.
or you
Thank
search
so
my
much,
name.
sir.
So Google tells you, Google is better than any professors. Enter this word.
Thanks so much, Professor.
Thank you, Suwen.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions specifically in general about publishing too? I don't see any hands up, so I might have one in general. So what are the common mistakes, Dr. Liu, see maybe from graduate students? Other than what you listed here, more on the way they, the language of the article. Do you see anything specific on how the language should be structured?
I think the common mistake, I can name a few, but really the major thing what I want to remind is really the attitude. So I have the same attitude when I was a graduate student, 10 years back. So basically it's really whenever I write anything, then I believe this is so great, then kick it out to my professor. That is my professor job. And then whenever my professor did this is, is journal's job. That mentality is not correct. Whenever we become, professionals here, and because really, author determine where you are, not editors, not reviewers. So that is, used to be I see. Okay, so I did my job, then all the rest of the world is others. That's not true. So as a graduate student, basically we need change that mentality. So basically whatever we do, what you do today determine what is tomorrow. So that's why what I mentioned, okay, write a good cover letter. Basically do think about what is result, what is discussion, do bring up the speed, what is state of the art of the knowledge, what you're studying, and do basically summarizing with what you are doing is so good within 5 minutes. So this is what I tell my graduate student whenever you write a paper. So I don't need basically hours to read a paper. You should spend only 5 minutes to tell me what you did in concise way. If you cannot do in 5 minutes, there's some problem. You don't understand it properly. You know, think about it. Anything, if you allow, okay, so let's say Masu, and we have 1 day. Let us discuss. Then you will be basically, you know, you will do good job regardless. Then I start telling you, hey, give me 1 hour to what you did. Then you will start thinking, okay, so basically what I did, you have to basically throwing things out and all that. Now I say, okay, only 10 minutes. Then you need to take seriously, you know, drawing lines and all that, the things and all that. So that is 5 minutes. Then you need to seriously think of what you did. So that is really, you have to have a habit to progressively see what is your innovation, what you did. That has to be there. Otherwise, it's not editor and reviewer's job, is our job as author. And this is one. The other thing is what a common mistake is really about graph. When you write a paper, graph is really not mathematical data. Graph is something for effective communication. So here is what I tell all my graduate students. What is good paper? What is good presentation? Is really, this is the rule. If you are go to a conference in Moscow, the conference is holding by, you know, Russian, but in language or Polish. You are a Kazakhstan, and basically you write a paper in English, and there's one audience using whatever, you know, language. So basically maybe French to ask you a question. This communication is smooth. That is basically you did a good job for your presentation. You did a good job for your papers. So to be honest, you know, every Friday I'm trying to read whatever journal, what I'm interested in and all that. So I'm not reading every single word, but I go to see the graph because I have a certain knowledge on it. So I just say, what is y-axis, what is x, what is talking about? Then I say, oh, this is a really big milestone. One mistake the student is really concentrating on to writing rather than to graphical representation of what you find. That has to be due. So each of the paper, if you have issue to say, oh, I ask you, give me only one figure, you have issues to see your innovation through graphic, there's some problem. You're not basically spending enough time to understand yourself. That is two things I think is quite important for us to understand. One is attitude, the other is really how you present in the writing.
Thanks a lot. This is really useful, especially on getting to the point that you have to keep things concise and not try to pour whatever you did out there, and more presentable, if I'm putting it in the right way said. So where do you see, this is just follow up on, and a lot of things that you mentioned here, where do you see graduate students can gain this knowledge from, or these soft skills from? Because usually we just get into our research and we are like, finish up, try to graduate soon. If the department needs 3 papers, or we are more focused on pushing those papers than learning the skills on how to do them. Do you see any avenues for our students to look forward?
Oh, yeah, this is this is a very good question, Masu. I think this is really applied to everybody. So there's a fact, soft science is hard. That is true. So you learn how to talk, you learn how to communicate. This is, every one of us has to be continually improving. And where you are is already pretty impressive. If you can attend graduate school, you're already going through application, everything that is type of communication you go through. That is, you already get a high bar basically where you are. But certainly, to answer your question, where to get those skills and everything, so is learn from others. That is what, and learn from, we are many engineers, best practices. So you will be see by your own judgment, you do your research, you basically read a paper, read a lot of paper, then you will be, when you read enough, you can rank them quite easily. Putting whatever you read into 3 boxes, good, medium, bad, is easy. So if you read enough, then basically you never basically don't whatever do in your lower boxes, you just see whatever your upper boxes. So that is one way to basically do, hey, just learn from whatever the best practices. That is one. The other, I think, is more important is really through practices. If you learn anything, you never go to there and not a practitioner, then that it will be, your brain, your knowledge will be rusted dramatically quickly. So whenever, you have to have passion. So that is really, for graduate student, and there's a couple of things is really hard to overturn, is really how you keep your curiosity and passionate for science is a long-term thing, has to be considered by ourselves. Whenever you decide to do a PhD or master's, you already make the commitment. Even though there's no signature on contract, but really you make commitment to basically, improve marginal sciences. So don't forget that. If you make those commitments, practice yourself. If you have conferences, go there, do it. Even though you may not have a luxury to attend a lot of conferences, so then just present with your professors more. So hey, I prepare 5 slides. Do you have 10 minutes with your professors? If you do enough, you will get enough experiencing. There's no difference. You have 5 audience and 500 audience. There's some differences psychologically, but technically it's same, because you will be presenting exactly the same. So it's only psychologically you will get a little bit stressed, but you can overcome it because you guys attending the top mining schools.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I think
Thanks.
basically one is learn from others, the other is practice.
Definitely, practice makes us more perfect than what we were before. I think we are getting close to 5 o'clock. Unless we have any more questions, I don't like to take Dr. Liu's time a lot. Do you have any?
I think Sai and Wenjie is here. Do you have anything to add, Sai? Too early for them. Anyways, so
Okay.
turn back to you, Musu.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Sai and Wangji for joining us and helping out with Dr. Liu as well in this process. And thanks a lot to Dr. Shimin Liu for joining us. This was really, really valuable for our graduate students, and I see graduate students from other universities joining as well. And it's something which we don't learn a lot. And I got one quick question. Maybe I would just try to bring it in from Edwin. Do you want to call it out, Edwin? Edwin is asking, is there any special methodology to be able to create a suitable cover letter and thus be able to capture the attention of the company?
Okay, so I need to change another phase from editor and professor into HR manager. I don't know, but I think, the general rule applies. You have to basically, package yourself in such a way compelling. So how to do it is really only yourself understand yourself. Only ourselves understand ourselves. And also the other thing is really matching. So most important is really, sometimes you think about it, get job, you're not basically trying to get a job. You're actually trying to get a career. So sometimes, even some people want to hire you, you may not want to do it. That's why you have to do a good match to see, okay, what company require, what their culture, what basically, the credential they required, do you have it? So basically that is really matching what they require, what you have, and then decide what career you want to be. So that is really not, I think company and this journal, a little bit different. Company, more or less, you don't want to basically overload them. So if you write basically 3 pages of cover letter, I think that is a mistake, because nobody have any time to read 3 pages. Okay, just half page, short, concise.
So thank you. I guess it's the question. I didn't understand the question before I read it out, but that thanks for answering, going beyond what the scope of this was. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Next week would be our last talk of this mining seminar series, and we have Max Yates from Credit Suisse talking about how capital markets work specifically for equipment manufacturers, because mining companies spend large amount of money on equipments, and how the whole logistics work behind. He's going to discuss with us, calling out from a different continent, from Europe, and we hope you can join us around the same time. And I hope you all got a valuable lesson today. And thanks a lot, Dr. Liu. We hope we can have you and meet you in person sometime in future once things settle down.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
We are in the same profession, one way or another, one occasion or another, we'll meet each other. Good luck.
Definitely.
Good night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.